This is the Morning Swim Show for Tuesday, July 27th, 2010. I'm your host, Peter Bush. In the Phoenix Monitor today, we'll talk to Diana Nyad. She's considered by some to be the queen of marathon swimming, and she'll try and break one of her own personal records coming up for the longest swim she's ever done. And Diana joins us right now in the Phoenix Monitor from New York, New York. Diana, how you doing?
I'm great, Peter. How's it going with you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Tell us about the big swim coming up.
Well, back in 1978, so I was young then. I was 29 years old. I tried to be the first person to swim from Cuba to Florida. And it's a long, arduous swim, a lot of tricky currents. Just the distance itself is daunting. And I didn't have a great day. I had a pretty bad weather. A not so competent navigator, which I guess was my bad, but we went 41 hours and 49 minutes, constantly being blown to the west and the west and the west, and I wound up somewhere way out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, about 80 miles, and didn't make it to shore. So, I've been living all these years without making that swim. Frankly, it's not like I couldn't have gone to my grave, without that notch in the belt, so to speak, but last summer, right about now, mid-July 2009, I was about to turn 60, in August, and I was getting a little pissed off. I was like, hey, what is it? 60 isn't irrelevant now. 60 isn't, all your best days are behind you. I feel great, even though I hadn't swum a stroke in 30 years from the Bahamas swim that I did in 1979, Bahamas to Florida, 102.5 miles, to last summer. I keep in shape. I have a fitness business. I honor fitness in a big way in my life. But I hadn't swum a stroke, big burnout for 30 years. And last summer I was driving around saying, you know what? I feel strong. I feel powerful. 60 is the new 40, and I'm going to prove it. First to myself, and then to the rest of my fellow baby boomers. And you know what? I'm going to go back and do that thing I couldn't even do in my 20s. That's what I'm going to do. So I started training real quietly. I didn't even let my best friends know, although the suntan marks with the goggles were beginning to be more and more apparent. And I wound up talking to myself about it. It got to be about October, and I thought, I've done enough laps now. I know this is in my spirit. I know it's in my body. I can do this. And I started really trying to, put all the time in the ocean by then.
Diana, I feel like that was a great locker room speech. I'm ready to suit up and try it with you.
Well, what do you think? Are you ready? Maybe you need a few months to spend some time in the ocean too, right?
I think you would definitely trounce me. But I got to say, even though you're obviously in great shape and are experienced with these types of swims, your recent training swim, and we're showing some video of it, did not look like it went too well.
I don't know. Well, where'd you get that? We thought it was an incredible success. I swam for 24 straight hours, never once for 1 minute felt a moment that wasn't powerful and strong. So I'm not sure what you're referring to. Okay,
maybe the looks are deceiving from the video because it looks like you're getting oxygen and they're pulling you off the boat, but maybe that's just, is that afterwards that we're seeing on the video?
Oh yeah, that's not an indication of not doing too well. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. I don't care what great conditions you have. You go swim 24 hard hours in the ocean, and you're going to lose a lot of weight. You're going to lose a lot of fluids. So I was dehydrated for sure. So they give you a little oxygen. I had 4 liters of liquid afterward. I definitely need to hydrate better as I do these things. But in the actual 24 hours of that swim, every single minute I pushed it. I'm no Michael Phelps, that's for sure. But for my speed and my age, I did not take that swim like just going through the motions. I dug in with elbows high, pressing back every stroke of every minute of that swim. And I felt at the end of 24 hours I could do another 24. Now, once you stop, your blood pressure goes down, your pulse comes down, you don't feel very well. You've just been in the seawater and put at a temperature much lower than your body temperature, putting in all kinds of sports drinks and stuff that you don't want to eat while you're swimming. So when you stop, you do not feel well. But while I was actually swimming, I felt great. It felt better than good. I felt great.
So 103 miles is what you're going to try, correct?
Yeah, that's the statute mile distance if you just go point A to point B between Havana and Key West. Frankly, because of the push of the Gulf Stream to the east, I probably won't wind up in Key West. We have no idea. I don't care where I wind up. I just want to walk or crawl up on the land somewhere. But honestly, it'll probably be up in the Keys a little bit, farther east than Key West.
Is the oil spill affected that area at all, or no?
It isn't really. I mean, believe me, I care about the poor people up in, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida Panhandle more than I do my little personal situation. But ever since the oil spill started, you can believe that I have been tracking it every day. There's a woman up in Maryland. She has a cool nickname. She's called the Queen of the Gulf Stream. And she, for 35 years, has been analyzing the Gulf Stream from way down in the Yucatan Peninsula all the way up to Maine. And for fishermen, sailors, I'm the first swimmer client she's had. But she takes a look at that Gulf Stream, the loop current that comes up from the Yucatan into the Gulf every day. And there have been a few little spots of oil that have swept down toward Cuba and toward the the Atlantic side of Florida, but not much. It's just very lucky. It's not going in that direction, at least for the time that I'm probably going to get to do the swim, which will be in August sometime.
Okay, I was going to ask. So, what's the scheduled date?
There's no date. How this sport's kind of unnerving. It's a little like mountain climbing. Like if you were going up Everest, I would say to you, well, what day do you think you're going to reach the summit? And you would say, I have no idea. We have no idea what the weather conditions, the wind is going to be like, if we're going to be feeling well, and we might have to stop back for a little bit. So I do not yet have government permissions from either the United States or Cuba. We're working on it. I have every faith it's going to come through. I haven't raised all the money yet. So, it's like the website. We're just pounding to see if fans will come in and help me out, and they are, and I'm so grateful. But as soon as that comes through, we're going to start waiting for weather. And when we get a good high-pressure system, we will all be down in Key West, and we'll buzz over to Havana and try to get started while we still have some calm seas,
So you actually kind of put yourself on standby.
Yeah, and it's hard. You would, any swimmer would know, more than the average public. It's hard because I am now ready. I did my thing over this last year. I never left one workout short. If I said I was going to swim 420 laps in a 50-meter pool, and you can imagine, it takes a lot of discipline to stay in there and do 420 laps. For me, that's taking me 6 hours. That's if you give you an idea of where my speed's at with that. And if I go out to do a 12-hour swim in St. Martin, I don't finish at 11 hours and say, that's good enough. Come on, 11 hours, that's plenty. If I said I was going to do 12, I do 12 to the minute. I wouldn't even do 11:59. I do 12. So I didn't leave any stone unturned. I just feel the body and the mind are ready to go. But now what do? I'm in shape. I did the 24-hour swim. I don't want to be tired. I'm in a taper mode. But what if the swim doesn't happen for a whole month more? I've got to keep swimming. So it's a real fine line of how much energy to put out and how much to save, day by day now.
Diana, I could say that you are an intense and competitive person just knowing you over Skype for 10 minutes.
Thanks, Peter. I guess it's a compliment. I'm not sure. I have a softer side, too, but just not around this swim.
Absolutely it is. Good luck with what you're doing. It's pretty remarkable.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate your being interested over at Swimming World. Thanks.
All right, hey, real quick, what's the website if people want to donate?
It's DianaNyad.com, and I appreciate the shout-out.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Diana. Good luck.
Take care.
All right, it's DianaNyad.com. Joining us in the Fenice Monitor, I'm Peter Bush, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.